Radio Rebellion.
All right, so to kind of wrap the day up, I think I mentioned it last week. I've been reading Wraith Squadron X-Wing by Aaron Allstone, and these are it's part of that Essential Legends collection audiobook that they've been re-releasing these past few years, and then also doing the audiobooks. Shout out and big thanks to Penguin Random House Audio for sending me some review copies. I hadn't gotten to this book because I got this around the same time that I got The Living Force, and The Living Force obviously kind of took precedence. And then I finally sat down to listen to Wraith Squadron at Aaron Allstone. Again, Mark Thompson does all the voiceover. And even though I had some issues with previous Legends audiobooks, I'm extremely surprised how much I enjoyed this book. It was a great read from beginning to end, or a great listen. Just out of the way, as always, the music is great, the special effects, the sound effects, everything works. It's a little bit funny when you have the heroes doing something heroic, and the music that is playing is the Trade Federation music. Then, 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 then. It's kind of weird, but it works because there's a great soundtrack. But it's a simple story, but with great characters, and that's what I've been missing by some of the other audiobooks that kind of drawn out. They're so long, and I haven't really connected with the characters. This one, no, and there's like 12 characters here. Of course, there's some main ones, but they were great. So we got mostly, you saw it there in the cover. We have West Jans. I mean, Wedge Antilles is kind of the main one that we'll know. West Janson is there. We get brief appearances by Hobby, Han Solo, Princess Leia. Admiral Akbar plays a role. Let's say it's not the one in the. He might be the one in the cover. There's another Mon Calamari there. His niece, I think it is. But it goes to what we know is this New Republic era. There are Imperial remnants out there. There's warlords all causing chaos everywhere. Now that the New Republic is trying to rebuild, so all these Imperial remnants and these warlords that still have some TIE fighters, and one of them has an Imperial Star Destroyer, and all these Imperial cruisers trying to carve their way in. But so Wedge goes to Admiral Akbar to say, "Hey, I need a new squadron out there. It's different to Rogue Squadron, which was this X-Wing pilot that also needed to be kind of commandos in case there's some groundwork. I need to inverse that. So we get some commandos that can do the groundwork. We got snipers, we got slicers, we got all these other people that can also fly an X-Wing in case we need to hightail it out of there. But it's formed out from troublemakers, rejects, screw ups, people that are the last line. If they don't make it here, some of them are in jail. I think some of them are Imperials that turned face at the end of the war. But you connect with those characters, and we'll get to that in a minute. So they're on the hunt for this warlord Zsinj or Jinja and ex-Imperial Admiral Trigit. So they've been doing hit and run on new Imperial bases, new Imperial squadrons. And the New Republic is kind of, hey, we gotta do something about it. And Wedge is, let me get my squadron and we'll go after them. At the beginning, it starts with this Admiral Trigit and his TIE fighters kind of destroying this Talon squadron from the New Republic, and we get one of the survivors joins this new Wraith Squadron. What I love about this book that I said is the connection with the characters. Reminded me about Alphabet Squadron. Alphabet Squadron, even though it's mainly 5, the main cast, of course, and Hera Syndulla's there. It's how you connect. Yeah, it's about this TIE fighter, 212 or whatever it was, TIE fighter squadron and Alphabet Squadron just going back and forth. But it's how you connect to those characters. So when you get those starfighter battles, then you're feeling it. You don't want those characters to die. So to a lesser extent, I love Alpha Squadron more than this. Although Alpha Squadron is a trilogy, this one I've only listened to one book. I know there's more. But it's you connect with all these characters before they get into an X-Wing or before they have to infiltrate a base. So when you get to those tense moments, you're feeling tense for those characters. So I just mentioned the ones that we know, like Wedge, Hobby, Akbar, Janson. Those are the ones that we know. But the main characters, we have Kel Trainer, Min Donos, who's the only survivor from that Talon Squadron that gets destroyed at the beginning. One of my favorites is this Gamorrean pilot named Piggy. We got a Bothan Slicer, Grinder, Tyria Sarkin, Runt, which is this alien with different minds. It's almost like different personalities, where he has his pilot mind and his normal mind, and they all act differently. And they have some great voices. Face, which is this actor that wanted to be an X-Wing pilot, and he's not stealing them, but I don't know, whatever, his actor turned pilot, and he had to use his acting skills. It's a great collection of characters. Everyone's different. This is one of my favorite Mark Thompson voiceovers. Like, I had some trouble recently with some of his choices for some of the characters, but here everyone works. Especially female characters in the past, and like it sounds like a 40-plus man trying to do a 20-year-old woman. Here, all of them work. All the voices for the alien characters work. As soon as he does Akbar, you know that's Akbar. You don't need to listen to anything else. The sorry, the Bothan Grinder has a great voice, but so anyway, after they capture one of Zsinj's cruiser, they destroy the commander there, which is this Imperial whatever. So they said, we're gonna pose as the crew in hopes of infiltrating Zsinj's kind of operation, and as they go doing that, they find out that this warlord is basically has the same tactics that the rebellion had at the beginning. All these different cells, not really connected just by him, but they don't know each other. So if the New Republic gets to one and destroys it, his operation still works because nothing connects to each one of them. So very rebel-like. So they see that and they say, hey, the only way to get closer is just to do all these stops. So this cruiser was going to all these different stops to keep doing Zsinj's bidding. So let's just keep doing them. We'll impersonate the crew. We have Face, who's an actor, and they do basically some deep fake, some Star Wars deep fake. So people, if they have to do a hologram, they can just superimpose the commander that was there that they're impersonating over Face, and then he can just act through it with a voice decoder, whatever. So it works great. It's funny as it goes along, and it just goes on and on. And of course, through all this, there's ground battles, there's space battles. All that is very intense. But as they start going planet to planet and we see everything that's going on and we learn more about this Warlord's operation, we start learning more about each character. And that's when you fall in love with the characters, like Kel Trainer. We know his dad was killed he was shot down by Wes Jansen back in the rebellion days because he kind of Top Gun couldn't hack it, and then was trying to just leave. And hey, if the Empire gets a hold of him, they can just extract information. We're all kind of screwed. So Wes unfortunately had to kill Kel Trainer's dad, and then Kel Trainer held this against against Jansen for decades. They had to change their family name, and every time he sees Wes, he thinks Wes is gonna kill him. So there's that great kind of battle there just between them, and Wes on his end thinks that every time he turns his back, Kel is gonna kill him. So we got this great character work there. Piggy, which I mentioned, is this Gamorrean pilot. He's a Gamorrean pilot, just be there. He was tortured and experimented on by the Empire, trying to take out all the Gamorrean kind of violence, I guess, just to make it less Gamorrean, more docile. He spoke through this voculator basic, and what you get the Gamorrean grunts first and then the voice. One of my favorite, again, Mark Thompson voice acting work, and Piggy became one of my favorites. Grinder, who loved to do pranks, and then we get a whole chapter almost, or half the back half of one chapter and the front half of the next one, about all this turning against him. Well, he thinks that deadly insect has been put in his cabin. He's going to die. He thinks he's going crazy, and they're just playing a prank on him because he tried to play a prank on someone else. And you might be, well, I don't care. Just get me to the story. No, this is what makes all those characters feel like characters, especially because Grinder had there have been two instances before that something had happened. No one knew who did it. Or it's Grinder trying to play pranks in this way that no one else really understood. We have Tyria, like I mentioned, who has this love connection with Kale, which takes time. It builds up and makes sense when it happens. But she was always at the bottom of all her classes, all the training exercises. She's always at the bottom. And then we get Grinder again. He's the slicer. Hey, I can just change the grades or change the points, and you'll be up. And then she beats the crap out of him because on her previous squad that she was, her previous class, the instructor says who'll do something similar if she helped him steal some X-wings so he can sell them in the black market. So again, it takes its time to build all these characters. So when the end comes, or as it builds to it, you feel that connection to them. And all of them have different connections to it. We have Jasmine Akbar, again, who's Admiral Akbar's niece, who thought that she only got to where she got because of her last name and all that connection. Dorian, Min Donos, like I mentioned, he was the leader of Talon Squadron. He's the only human survivor. And then he again, a great PTSD and survivor's guilt for being the only one there. But he also has the droid that survives. So the droid is actually the last member of his squadron. And when the droid gets hurt, he just goes into depression. You don't understand why until you learn that. So you build all these great characters that when they get into their X-wings and the TIE fighters and all the battle starts, now you're invested in them. So again, Aaron Allstone did a great job in building each character, having so many characters, to when the action comes, you feel for them. Unfortunately, some of them died and you feel bad for it. Again, great writing job, great voiceover job by Mark Thompson. I guess the music and the special effects, everything works. Great space battle. And it kind of ends knowing that there's more books in this series. Well, they deal with Admiral Trigit. They don't get to Warlord Zsinj. He's still doing his stuff, but they're going to him. It's not like, yeah, we'll let someone else. No, they're building to it. So really great book. I really want to push it out there. If you like Alphabet Squadron, if you like all these space battles, if you love gonna get into Legends book, I think this is a good one. Even if you don't do the audiobooks, I think it's a good choice to try this one. Chapters are like 35 minutes more or less, which isn't too bad. I could listen to a chapter on my way to work, listen to another at lunch, another on my way back. So great book. Check it out there. I do recommend it. Wraith Squadron X-Wing by Aaron Allstone. Give it a chance. It's a good read out there. All right. So I am done for today.